One good thing about Bela, he is such a positive influence on his girls, especially during competition. He doesn't want them to hold back. He doesn't want them to be too controlled. He wants them to go for the gold, basically.
Last time the United States met the Soviet Union was last year, 1986, in Boston, Massachusetts. Kathy, you and I were there as the Soviet Union defeated the United States by about 3 points and then beat the men the next day.
Joanne Pasquale walking away there. Judge for the United States.
Just to correct the time of our telecast tomorrow from Denver, the United States and the Soviet Union, the men's competition, it'll be 4 o'clock Eastern time, the United States and the Soviet Union, 3 o'clock Central and Pacific. Not 4:30 as I mentioned, 4 o'clock and 3 o'clock Central and Pacific. There's the score. The crowd doesn't like it. 9.875. Is it fair?
Well, she had that one bobble. They must have counted it
I thought
a little more than the audience would have counted it.
Well, the next competitor to go for the Soviet Union is ready for her mount, Natalia Lashenova.
She begins with a front flip mount, right into a walkover. Really a dynamic little gymnast, has been wowing the coaches during practice. She's very new to international competition, and this is where it will help as she gets prepared for October. That handspring layout, look how high she was, even though she had a bobble there. Almost 2.5 feet off that beam.
She is 13 years old. First trip to the United States.
The Soviets work with such beautiful ballet movements. They may fall, but their body, they don't give away points in form breaks. And they're normally very aggressive on this apparatus. Back walkover, getting prepared now for back layout. Beautiful toe point there. 13 years old.
4'6".
You can see she shouldn't wait too long for a dismount, but the full in double back from 2 back handsprings. Great exercise, lots of difficulty there.
Little hop on the end that'll cost her a 10th or so.
She really could rival Shushanova and Omelianchik in the future. She is so young. Let's take another look at her dismount. 2 back handsprings here. She's right on. Everything's straight. Full twist on the first back flip and then does another one. Another flip at the end. Watch this again. Sometimes in normal speed it's difficult to see, but here she's way over the top of that beam, finishes her full twist on the first flip and really pops out the second part of the second flip.
Natalia Lashenova. Now she will wait. Hopefully the judges will be able to generate these numbers a little quicker than they did the other numbers. And there it is. 9.80 is the score. It'll be very, very interesting to see after what's happened here on the beam with some slips and falls how the team standings will change. We will be back later to tell you about that, and we'll have some floor exercise for you. United States and the Soviet Union in this dual meet in Denver. By about a half a point. So they've come back. One more event to go. And in the all-around, Christy Phillips with a 9.875 in the beam. A great effort for her. Now trails Boginskaya of the Soviet Union by just a bit. Let's go back to Jim McKay. Lewis's story does not mean there's no discrimination problem in baseball. It simply means there's no discrimination problem in the front office of the Savannah Cardinals. It'll be interesting to see what happens as a result of Reverend Jesse Jackson's meeting this week with Peter Ueberroth, the commissioner. Let's go back out to Jim McKay.
Oh, boy. Yes!
She has done the best vault of her life. She knows what she's done now. Twisting Sugahara.
Best vault of her life. That's what it took for Mary Lou Retton to win the gold at Los Angeles. The dream of doing that, or just the right moment, is clearly on the mind of all the gymnasts in Denver today, including 15-year-old Melissa Marlowe. She, like all those gymnasts, knows exactly what goes into having a day like Mary Lou had. In a moment, we'll watch her perform for about 2 minutes, what she has been preparing for years. In fact, more goes into preparation for today's performances than we will ever know. This is Houston, Texas, but it happens at 6 a.m. many places in the world. A sorority of young gymnasts working out until 9:30, stopping for school, coming back in late afternoon, only to work out again until 9 p.m. They do it until they get it right, but give up so much in the process, as Bella Caroli, gymnastics mentor, and Christy Phillips' teenage phenomenon well know.
I'm not missing anything because I've grown up on gymnastics, and that's all my life means to me is gymnastics. But I love gymnastics so much that I put all that I can into it so I can get all that I can out of it.
Many people are questioning, do they miss so and so and so? Yeah, sure, they miss some of that. That is kids' normal life, like, weekend parties and so, and, more shopping and more wasting time around because they really don't have too much time. But we have to think about another side of the coin, the great satisfactions when they go out and compete and they come home. Oh, with the prestige and the pride and everybody's admiring them. Sure, that's very, very rewarding. And it's a beautiful life.
All these young ladies know one thing. There can be only one gold medal winner. It may be one of them, it may not. As Bella Caroli scans the gym, he knows immediately who might have a chance for glory and who has no chance. But he knows the worth of training all of them.
No matter at what level you are arriving in gymnastics, no matter how high competitive level you're reaching, you're a winner anyhow. Because all those years you spend in gymnastics, they are coming back to your personality. You build your own personality. You build your own future. You build your own body. So I'm very proud of these little kids, even though some of them never reach the national team and they never go competing internationally. But I know they became excellent people with good social standing, and that's more than anything what you can imagine.
Here's Melissa Marlowe. You can see she's had a problem with the left knee. Heavy ice, a big wrap. It's been a day of up and downs. We'll take you back now a few minutes when her knee seemed to be fine, and she gave us her performance on the floor exercise. Melissa Marlowe of the United States. She has had a couple of good moments and a couple of shaky moments here in Denver.
And this could be a very good event for her. She has all the classical ability in ballet. The tumbling, here's her opening tumbling run, full in double back. I don't think she stepped out there. It looked like she was just on the line. She's okay. She's elected to do her routine to Hungarian Rhapsody.
And the crowd getting behind her rather quickly.
But the Americans have performed so well on this event so far.
Heels right on the edge.
So that she has enough time and enough room to do this double back. Good strong run important. I think the Americans know they're only 5/10 of a point behind. They'd like to make up as much as possible here. Floats through the air on that aerial. She really has the form of the Soviet gymnast. Toe point, legs so tight in every move.
She really seems to be shaking off the problem she had on the beam, very similar to the way that Phoebe Mills shook off an earlier problem.
Yes, and this is her last tumbling run. And now, once again, there's altitude. This altitude affects these gymnasts a little bit, but it didn't seem to bother her here. A double twist. Oops, a little bit bobbled there on the feet, but not bad.
It all paid off for Melissa Marlowe of Salt Lake City. At least that time on the floor it did. And here now is Melissa Marlowe live. She spends her time training with a club called the Rocky Mountain Gymnasts in Salt Lake City. Her score a 9.80 on the floor exercise. It looks as though her trip to Denver will be wrapped up on her knee with ice.
ABC.
Live in Denver, Al Troutwig along with Kathy Rigby-McCoy. We're watching the final moments of Hope Spivey's routine on the floor exercise.
This is her last tumbling run. Flip-flop double back. Had a little trouble on her very first tumbling run. Just a few over-rotated it slightly, but she did well in the rest of her routine. Very perky on this event. A good, solid American team member.
Gave up her home in Suffolk, Virginia, moved to Allentown, Pennsylvania to train with that woman and her husband, Donna Strauss and Bill Strauss.
And she's had a little bit of trouble with her ankle, so this event really takes its toll on the gymnast. And this is her last tumbling run. You can see she almost runs clear to the other side of the mat before even attempting her first tumbling movement. And here it is, double back, good position in the air. A little bit low actually on that landing. You can see the pressure on that ankle too when she lands.
Hope Spivey waiting for her score, as are we. After 3 events, she was in 6th place in the all-around. Each team with 6 gymnasts, so a 12 total overall for this competition.
Hope Spivey, 9.8.
And a really nice score for Hope on the floor exercise, 9.80. That will help her standing, and a congratulatory hug from Donna Strauss, a woman who dedicates so much time with young gymnasts in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Now to the leader in the all-around competition after 3 events, Svetlana Boginskaya. She is 14 years old from Minsk. She started gymnastics slightly after the age of 6.
And I might mention one of her coaches is the great Nellie Kim. Pull in double back, solid, no problem on that. You will undoubtedly see this gymnast in Holland this October at the World Championships.
In 1986 at the Junior Championships, she was first in the all-around, so she's already known some glory as a junior competitor.
Very consistent gymnast. Good concentration, and I might mention in practice these Soviet athletes must go over each routine, including floor exercise, 10 times each. Wonderful tumbling run there, combination tumbling run, just what the judges are looking for. They're placing a little more emphasis on the originality of those combinations. This gymnast rarely stops moving on this event.
She even managed to work in a clap to the music on her last run across the mat.
Trying to get that audience going. Here's one pause. You can see where at this high altitude makes them breathe a little bit heavier. Whip over, flip flop, double tuck. Oh, you can see a little bit weak on that last double back. She did a forward roll out of it trying to save it, but she is tired.
Svetlana Boginskaya on the floor exercise for the Soviet Union.
And let's take a look again. And as I said, they're feeling tired at the end of this routine. Whip over, flip-flop, but she just didn't get quite enough rotation or height to get all the way around, so she did a somersault out of it. And we'll see how much the judges decide to take that off for that.
Creativity in the face of disaster, wouldn't you say?
And breaks. Not to mention the flair on all the elements. And her dismount, toe on, front with a half.
And Dorta Tumler and Romania's Danielle Silivash were named co-world champions on the uneven bars. Into the finals in 3rd place from the 1984 Olympics. As many of you will recall, Ekaterina was Mary Lou Retton's primary rival in the all-around. Szabo set the stage for the drama. Kathy and Jack Whitaker were the commentators.
There's a little pop with the hands there, but no deduction. Handstand front, right into a front sole.